Amanda Jukes, Patrick Dyer, Ed Worley. Amanda Jukes is a new name. Tell us where you're from, Amanda. Welcome. Paul Homchick says it's humid today. He must be here in the Bay Area. Ed Worley, we mentioned. Gordon Smith, good evening. You fabulous lot, he said tonight.
Oh, he always makes me feel so.
He's always got some nice word. Greg Phillips from the Gold Coast in Oz. Bill Haynes, Independence, Missouri, checking in the heart of the lower 48. Russell Sims. Hello, Russell. Long time. As we get ready for this show number 520. Luca Craig down in Auckland. Normally that's where Luca is, I think. Checking in. Welcome, Luca. Alessandro Francischetti. Did I get that right, Alessandro? I hope so. Bill Wingrove, the usual humid. We're in the wrong Bay Area. Let's get this one off the dock.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's so funny?
Luca Craig wants to know if we did anything special for 420 since it's 520.
420. Did we do anything special on 420?
We acknowledged it.
You mean the marijuana day?
Yeah. And Earth Day, too, I think.
Yeah, well, Earth Day is, was it the 20th? I think Earth Day is something else, isn't it? Good afternoon, Peter Taylor. Sorry I couldn't drag your name out of my thick skull the other day. Peter's been a regular contributor here on the show, not only videos, but also some funnies of late.
Yes, nice to hear from him.
Fog Machine. Vamos, let's go. João Alexander in Portugal. Baton Rouge in Charleston, just in time for the cannon. Alistair Murray, we're going to read a nice long letter from him. He says it's raining cats and dogs in Melbourne and Oz, so settling in, my friends at Sailing Illustrated. Alistair, I hope you're completely over your bout with COVID, and your wife too. Ted Ryman in Cape Town. Carlos Aviz down in Brazil. Normally Brasilia, isn't he, Julia?
Yes.
I think he's in Brasilia. We are ready to go here. Everything looking nominal. Show number 520 for the 6th of May. Welcome to Tom Eamon Live. Julia Vatican, of course, is here, our co-host, the Commodore of the Beach Street Yacht Club. We have another BSYC, by the way, featured in today's show. Yes, we do. We're live from Studio B, as usual, here at the Beach Street Yacht Club in San Francisco's beautiful, albeit gray and a bit rainy, and as Paul Homchick says, humid San Francisco. Welcome to all of you. I'm your host, Tom Eamon, and we'll get right to it here in the pre-start. And yesterday, of course, I couldn't help myself, Julia, being the juvenile. Warren Schasser checking in from Brisbane. And Denise Peterson watching from Novi. You know where Novi is.
I do.
North Virginia. Happy Friday. Yes, happy Friday, everybody. Happy birthday, Willie May. Sandy Bertonen. I think it's also Sandy Bertonen's birthday today, isn't it, Sandy? Did I see that on Facebook? We're in the pre-start, and of course, yesterday was
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo. And I couldn't resist because there were, once I put one up on my Facebook page, they poured in from any number of people. That's pretty good. Your late great husband, the U-boat, he wasn't a U-boat captain.
No,
in fact, he fled Nazi Germany, didn't he? And he went to Norway. He was a sea captain and merchant marines, wasn't he?
He was. The German ship he was on was sunk.
But he was a merchant mariner. He wasn't a member of the
That's correct.
Luft.
So he had a quite adventurous time as a civilian in Norway. So it's a whole.
He was sent as a POW to Norway, where
no, he wasn't.
He wasn't.
Mm-mm.
Well, I thought he was a POW up there and ran a POW camp.
Oh, after the war.
Oh, and it was a women's camp.
Yes, there were 200 women and 9 men.
And Conrad was in charge.
You bet.
The Cinco de Mayo, I couldn't resist that one either, Julia.
Oh.
And this was the one I posted originally that begot all of those others. I hadn't seen this one. I've seen the others in the past years, I think. But yesterday, I hope you all had a great Cinco de Mayo. And those of you who are wondering, Cinco de Mayo is, believe it or not, more of an American holiday than it is a Mexican holiday. Have a look.
Mayo, the day millions of Americans celebrate by stuffing their faces with nachos. Contrary to popular belief, it's not Mexico's Independence Day, but it is more than just another excuse to party. Cinco de Mayo commemorates Mexico's underdog victory against French troops during the Battle of Puebla in 1862. But since then, the holiday has become a much bigger deal in the US than in Mexico. It gained popularity in the 1960s and 70s when the Chicano civil rights movement adopted Cinco de Mayo to celebrate Mexican heritage. Activist groups tried to promote events tied to Cinco de Mayo, but they needed cash and sponsors. That opened the door to alcohol and food companies that wanted to tap into the growing Latin American market. Since then, Cinco de Mayo has been transformed into the fiesta that frat boys celebrate today.
Frat boys? You were at the YC last night. I was too busy preparing the show and
Yes.
dealing with technical issues here in Studio B. How was it over at the YC?
Well, it was much tamer than it usually is.
Why is that? Because of COVID still? Or kind of...
I think there just weren't. No, there are no mariachis and no big hoo-ha. So
Maybe it's the general manager is just not that excited about it.
yeah, maybe.
Well, that video is courtesy, believe it or not. You talk about the global world we live in. The Qatari news network called Al Jazeera is where I found that one. You know what today is, Julia?
Yes, no diet day.
Exactly. You saw it
I
in
did.
the show notes at the top. It's International No Diet Day. I had never heard of this. And it was fairly recent, 1992. A Brit, Mary Evans Young, started International No Diet Day to be on May 5th. Young is or was the director of the British group Diet Breakers. Americans in the Southwest, such as California, Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, were concerned the date with clashed with Cinco de Mayo.
Oh.
So Young agreed to change the date to May 6th, which is also her birthday. And wouldn't you know it, 93 feminists in many countries expanded International No Diet Day.
Yes.
Don't judge me based on my looks or anything else, which is fine. But by the same token, it's good to intermittent fast and be, reasonably.
Yeah, don't ruin your life by dieting all day, every day for 20 years.
I think that's true. And of course, I think probably everybody on here would agree. And in our case, at least, we would drink tequila because it's the
Yes.
lowest glycemic drink,
Right.
as we often say, too often say probably
know,
here.
right?
I think we're a bunch of lushers.
Yeah.
Maybe we are. Maura Stevens checking in from Nova Scotia, Lunenburg County. We'll mention Warren Chaucer. Fritz Mueller is down in Miami where they're going to have the first ever in Miami Grand Prix, F1 Grand Prix. David Robinson, I know I wasn't excited about it. David is the esteemed general manager over at San Francisco Yacht Club in the North Bay, and he would have had to put on a party over there last night, I'm sure. Frat boys, we did not need an excuse to party at Worley. I practice no diet day every day. I knew that would get a few comments. Bill
Yes.
Wingrove down in Tampa, Florida, saying, stay safe and eat fast, Stingray. Julie Aaron's checking in. She's in Cleveland, as usual, checking in. Let's carry on here with what these days are. Well, today is International No Diet Day, so I think for me, every day is a diet day. I just don't eat that much and don't eat till after the show. My first meal of the day, such as that is. Tomorrow, Julia, is the 148th running
of the Kentucky Derby.
of the Kentucky Derby. Churchill Downs in, guess where? Kentucky.
Yes.
My old Kentucky home. They'll be singing that. Chris Exley saying, hello, everyone. Fog Machine. Yeah, Miami GP free practice at 14:30 PDT today. And I wonder if Lewis Hamilton is actually going to participate. They have a new jewelry rule that the drivers can't wear jewelry. And Lewis, who is adorned, shall we say.
Yes.
I've known him since he was 10. I brought him in to sponsored him, the company I was working for, at the behest of Ron Dennis. And he's saying he's not going to race unless they amend the no jewelry rule, which is a safety rule for the drivers. And he's poo-pooing it, saying, well, that's not correct. Tomorrow, the 148th running of the Kentucky Derby. And speaking of the Grand Prix, in the inaugural Grand Prix in Miami on Sunday, that's the actual race with qualies to free practice today, qualifications tomorrow. Now, you see all this light blue area. I mean, you know these colors in Miami from the television shows and so on, the pink and
Yes.
then the light blue. This is just typical
Right.
What colors do you call those?
Pastels.
Pastels. Thank you, Julia. I can turn that monitor a bit. But you see this that looks like water?
Yes.
It's fake.
Oh no.
It's vinyl that's been laid down. This is that big stadium.
Yeah.
The Hard Rock Cafe Stadium, or the football team, and maybe I don't know if the baseball team plays there, and Hamilton ran in FP1 not so fast in the first practice run. Relative humidity in San Francisco today, that's humid for here. Yeah, it is, but everybody talks about the weather, Paul Homchick, but nobody does anything about it. You can go to someplace dry like San Diego. It's a very Miami harbor, fake like the boobs in Miami. So yeah, all of this area is vinyl, and it's been laid down. What's oversaturated, Alex Kent? The sound, the picture? Miami. So this was the Times of London this morning. The last week, the Grand Prix in Miami became something of a joke as pictures of the fake marina being built within the circuit went viral and memes were shared across social media. 10 yachts, see, there is a sailing or a yachting angle here anyway. 10 yachts moored in solid vinyl water on the inside of turns 6, 7, and 8 look worse in real life than in the photos. But F1, Formula One, the organizing authority, refused to give up its dream of racing around a Miami marina, so this is the result. They want it to look like Monaco. And no matter how gaudy, well, not gaudy, I'm thinking of Barcelona,
Yeah.
gaudy or vulgar it looks, with the Atlantic actually some 10 miles away, it has done the job of bringing more focus to the inaugural race in South Florida than F1 could possibly have hoped for. One video of someone jumping into the water and bouncing off the hard surface has been watched, get this, more than 3 million times on Twitter. But many, many millions more will tune in to watch the main event on Sunday when Ferrari Charles Leclerc, who has a 27-point lead in the driver standings, will go to battle with the second place Max Verstappen of Red Bull. That's on Sunday in Miami. And of course, Sunday is also Mother's Day. Wish you all who are celebrating it happy Mother's Day. Now, do you know how many countries celebrate Mother's Day?
Most, but not on the same day.
Well, I suppose that's a really good answer. It's Sunday and here in the USA and beyond, but there's something like 90 countries that actually celebrate it, including our friends in Australia, New Zealand, and many South American countries, Singapore and so on, Philippines. But apparently Canada, Denmark, most of the Scandinavian countries, but not the Catholic countries so much, and apparently not Great Britain. I think Great Britain does it on a Sunday. They have a Mother's Sunday. And then, of course, Julia, the other big deal is whether, you being the grammar maven,
Yes.
whether it's Mother's S apostrophe or apostrophe S. Is my slide correct? Yes. They have officially called it Mother apostrophe S, or so I'm reliably informed. Mother's Day. Sunday is also Sunday. Now, what about Monday? Victory Day is a big and arguably the biggest Russian holiday on Monday, and a lot of speculation. This from time.com today. Victory Day is always a big holiday in Russia. It marks the Soviet Union's victory over Nazi Germany in World War II. Remember, Russia, Soviet Union, started out on the side of the Nazis.
Yes.
And then, I mean, I say you remember that. I wasn't around. You were barely alive.
Right.
But it celebrates the ultimate victory over the Nazis, a conflict during which more than 8 million Soviet soldiers died. But this year, as Russia's war on Ukraine continues, the day will take on new meaning since Russia invaded Ukraine on February 24th. There's been speculation about whether Victory Day will mark a turning point in the war that has already killed thousands and forced millions to flee from their homes. So, Julia, I ask you, Monday, there's a lot of speculation in media,
Yes.
the talking heads on the tube today. Will Russia declare victory and pull out or pull back? Or will Putin, declare war?
And obliterate.
Try to obliterate what's left of
what's left.
Yeah. What's your guess? What's our Fosi's guess while Julia's guessing?
I don't know.
Hmm?
He's He's out to destroy.
I don't know what he's out to do. I think he's got more than a screw loose.
Yes.
But maybe not. Maybe he's got some plan we don't know. Mothering Sunday was traditionally when people returned to their mother church. Hence, it is on Sunday in the UK. Our Brit friend Gordon Smith, who lives in Denmark. Matthias Collins down in South America. On another topic, latest news, really sad, but the Soling class, former Olympic class, terrific class, misses another world championship, 4 days without wind, bad weather at Chiemsee in Germany.
That's unusual.
And 0 races raced from the minimum 5 required to a valid world championship. Yeah, I saw something from Denise Peterson. Jeffrey's over there sailing in Montenegro. Jeffrey Peterson, our FOSI, sailing over there in some kind of an event, match race in the Montenegro Cup. It's a circuit. It's a World Match Racing Tour event.
I
of some
love
sort.
Montenegro.
But apparently it's very light there as well. Thanks, Matthias, for that news. Sad news. Andrew Pindar is back in Jeddah, where the water next to the Formula One track is very real. Now, the fact that Pindar has been going back and forth to Jeddah is some kind of a sign, don't you think, Julia?
It is.
He's got something cooking. He hasn't told me. He won't tell me. And he is maybe, though, going to come on here and announce it when it's time, or at least elaborate. Stingray is Monday when Vladimir's mother gives him a gentle kiss. Well, he's 70-ish, isn't it? So if his mother's still around, my mother's still around, I'm basically on the cusp of 70. The Nazis lured in the masses with the false promise of socialism and being the workers' party, Alex Kent is saying. That's a smart comment on here. Mm-hmm. Mark Curtis and Patton wanted to push them back to the Arctic. Yeah, he did. Daniel Young, U.S. worked with Nazis as well. Ford built trucks for their army. We also we got the idea for the interstate highway system from them. Is that right? I guess, we can think about the highways in Germany. The Autobahns. Well, I can remember, you talk about white knuckle driving. When the 8 years we lived in Germany, I used to drive every now and then down to see my sister in southern Germany, or just get in a Mercedes S-Class or a BMW 7 Series and drive down the Autobahn at approaching 200 or maybe even more, 220 once or twice. Mm-hmm. They've pretty well restricted that now in Germany. There's a little bit of space between the cities still where you can go. Yeah. There's no speed limit, but
used to be really hairy though.
You talk about needing a change of underwear after driving at that speed. With colleagues, of course, and it was Ken S. Macho, everybody saying, well, I just did it. It's your turn to drive. And let's see you, bloody stupid American, used to going 55.
Yeah.
Eisenhower modeled the interstate highway system on the Autobahns, Chris Exley is saying. Yep. Clark Chapin and Eisenhower was impressed with the Autobahn system, and that led him to push for the interstate highway system. Mm-hmm. Turned out to be the biggest economic bonanza in this country. Property development, the suburbs, sailboat racing, being able to tow your boat to other places quickly and easily. Daniel Yount, we did not transfer the speed limit, unfortunately. There's something about the House of Commons. Remember the words of this is Clark again, the words of arch-communist Winston Churchill in support of the Soviet Union after the German attack. If Hitler attacked hell, I would at least put in a good word for the devil in the House of Commons. Okay, well, that's on Monday. We don't know what President Putin, crouton that he is, we'll see what he's going to do. But if John Emmett is right, he thinks this is going to be a bad day and a big day. Yeah. We'll see. Okay, that's Monday, but there's more. Tuesday, we've got Luca Devoti coming on.
Ooh, good.
As we've been telling you. Mm-hmm. His eyes are not closed in that photo. I think he sent that to me. I'm not sure that's something I grabbed off the internet.
He was just looking down.
He's maybe in deep thought, as he is one of the smartest guys we know in the sport. Looking forward to having Luca on the show with us on Tuesday. Next weekend, we're back in action with Sail GP Season 3 in BDA. Next Saturday and Sunday, practice sailing on Friday. And we got more news on all of that later in the show. So that should be an interesting week of sports and beyond. Now, Julia, I ask you, you hear the sound, the muted sea sound there in the background?
Indeed.
I left that sound in behind this slide. So every time we go to this cover slide, I just thought we'd have a little bit of
It's
You
my
know?
favorite sound.
I know you keep asking me to bring it up to you so that you can use it to put you to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I'll get you a recording of that. But you can just go on to your Siri and say, "Hey Siri, play some rain and lightning," or "Hey, play some soft rain," or play
They do,
some
but
soft
not that one. It sounds to me like water lapping on the
side of the yacht when you're sleeping down in the
yes.
in the master stateroom.
Yes.
Well, there's the sound. You'll hear that throughout the show. That may be Crutonic. Luca is a gem. Yeah, he is. We're looking forward to it. Don Lunabos, Alex Kent. Oh yeah, Russia did that too. Death toll from socialism, communism, 100 million. As Mark Husted said, Luca's a gem. Yeah. Don Lunabos saying, Luca, good. Hey Siri, play some Hendrix. Stingray. Let's get on to the show here. We're gas bagging. We're at the starting line, and we have, as always, have John Emmett's excellent report. I'm going to keep this picture of him because I think it's
a nice picture.
Nice picture for a cover photo, isn't it?
Yes.
Master mentor. I'm not going to make any jokes about that. John Emmett, who goes big. He goes large today, talking about yachts. Have a look.
Hi, Tom, Julia, and all the FOSI. You join me here at another Castle Cove evening race. It's actually Wednesday. We don't have any racing on the Friday. Few boats behind me. I was actually hoping to film the yachts and talk a little bit about the bigger boat racing, but you know what? I was having a lovely time and I was just too slow, and actually they're all sailing in now, so I have to be quick because they're all going to get to the bar before me, but there we go. But I think the yacht sailing, it's a really important part of sailing because it means lots of people can sail together, and sailing is very much a social sport, and it means that you can actually sail in quite high wind ranges, which maybe people wouldn't be able to do in the dinghies if they were less competent. And it's just as good with the class racing. So I was meant to be looking at some photos today of the Sonata fleet, but I said I missed that. But a lot of people will cross between the two. So you have dinghy sailors who will race keelboats and vice versa. And I'm really against putting people in boxes. I think sailing is sailing, and I know, you know, a lot of people enjoy lots of different aspects of it. In fact, you'll quite often see people out foiling when it gets really windy and jumping into dinghies when it's too light. But the keelboat, it's just a bigger part of the club as the dinghies, and that inclusivity is very important. One of the big online discussions we've had recently was about the rhombuses or diamonds on the sails of female athletes. Got to be honest, something I've never actually thought of before, but apparently quite a few of the young ladies were upset that they had to put stickers on their sail that the boys didn't have. And it's something that I haven't thought about before, and I don't think there's a right answer. Perhaps this is for Tom's correcting Crutonic, other than to put it to a class vote and see what people want to do. But my feeling is we should make sure that we don't do anything to discourage people from sailing. We want more people sailing, especially young and female sailors. So that's a really important thing. But at the same time, I felt it's clear identification. So for the non-sailors, I think, you know, if you look at the people who don't understand the difference between a radial and a standard rig, or an Ilka 6 or Ilka 7 is now, to be able to point out that those boats with diamonds are the female athletes, and actually domestically, because they're very talented and full-time sailors, most of the events now are won by female athletes, and you can see who's racing against who, and also if you end up with people sharing the same course, you know who's in your fleet, much as we have different colour bands on the Masters showing your age category. So yeah, really interesting debate. It's been going on all day today, and at the moment I really don't know the answer. So have a great show, and I hope you've enjoyed being on the water with me again. I will try and film some yachts at some point, I promise.
Super Coach John Emmett, our FOSI and regular contributor to the show. There are the red diamonds, or the, what did he call, rhombuses? Okay, let me give you a little bit of history on that. Thanks, John, for that terrific report brought to you by John Emmett Sailing. But let's go, well, one more slide here before we go back to those red diamonds. John reminds me that his Restart Sailing show, which was, I guess, yesterday, maybe today, but it's already up on YouTube, and it features our FOSI, Karen Robertson,
Oh, good.
from Scotland. So have a look at that. And there's the URL under that. You can just go to Google on YouTube, Restart Sailing, and you will find it. But now back to those diamonds. There's my soft sea sound. I like that.
Yes.
Is that crotonic or is that okay?
Oh, I like it.
See what the FOSI think. Those diamonds, where that started, somebody asked, when did that start? But not a FOSI, not a fuzzy FOSI. What is that? Okay, Stingray's making jokes. Ed Worley was asking, why are the diamond stickers required? I think the genesis of those was, and we did this at ISAF or IYRU, whatever it was then, we decided, Julia, we should have, because there was a 470 men's and a 470 women's division. And they had separate starts at the Olympics, but a lot of other times they would race together in local racing and class racing and so on. So you needed some way to quickly and easily identify, if you were a competitor, who you were racing against. And if the women could see who the other women were, and the men could see who the other men were, as John said in his report. So the red diamond was put on the mainsail of the women's 470s, and we did that because code flag F, I should have stuck do I have a code flag F here?
It's for female.
New York Yacht Club's yearbook have the code flag? Yeah, it does. Okay, look at this. How resourceful is this?
Oh, that's good.
So there is code flag F right there. White flag with a red diamond in the middle of it. A, B, C, D, E, F. That's also the attention signal in match racing. But forget that for the moment. So that's where the diamond came from. We took the diamond from inside the F flag for female. I think Henri van der out of the Netherlands somebody came up with that, maybe the 470 class themselves. So that was the genesis of the red diamond. Now, is somehow that discriminatory? No, I don't. I mean, ridiculous. Do you want to put a code flag M on the male boats? You know what the code flag M looks like? Looks like the Scottish flag. There is code flag M right there. It's the blue flag with the white cross in it. So I don't care. Do what you want. Try it locally and see what people think and how they feel. And if you don't like it, I don't see that's a problem. What do the FOSI think? Greg Phillips says, my female friends will not wear the red diamonds, too sexist. Okay. Greg's down in New Zealand, right? I thought it was because women like diamonds.
And they do.
They do? Do you have diamonds over in your safe deposit box?
No,
You wear them. That's on you. Show them. Let's see that on your finger. Let's see that diamond ring. Put it right up to your camera, right up close to your camera. Lean in here to your camera, and I'll put your camera on. There we go. Nice ring.
Yeah.
That thing's got to be worth $100,000 on you. You lucky you shouldn't be walking around in San Francisco with that, Julia.
I'm not walking around.
You're not? Okay. Let's get to Bravo Zulu, shall we? And I have a Bravo Zulu for a favorite new institution in my favorite town, sailing town in the world. You can talk about Cowes or Auckland or San Francisco or San Diego for that matter, but Newport, Rhode Island is still the spiritual heart of sailing, at least in this country. Annapolis is a great town too, Charleston, many, many others. Fort Worth, Chicago, Detroit, Minneapolis, up where Lake Middleton is. Lots of great sailing, but Newport still, because of the Cup being there for so many years. And today at the Newport Armory, where the press conferences used to take place for the America's Cup until the Cup left in '83, the Newport Armory is now the scene today, this morning, of the grand opening, at least the ribbon cutting. The grand opening, formal opening, is Tuesday. There's Commodore David Elwell on the left and Gary Jobson standing in the back, and some other luminaries, including some FOSI, including the executive director of the museum there, second from the left, standing next to David. She's been on the show. So Bravo Zulu to them. The Sailing Museum, in case you missed it, today we made it official. This is from Heather Russom, the second from the left, the executive director. Thank you to all who joined us for the ceremony this morning. We look forward to welcoming Newport and all visitors of Rhode Island to the Sailing Museum to experience the magic. I love this line, the magic that happens when wind and water meet. Our doors open to all ticketed visitors this coming Tuesday. And there's some pictures on their website of the really what's going to be a very cool museum. And well located.
Actually, we had a
preview
of it. Yeah, right.
A walkthrough with Heather. Didn't walk.
Yes.
She was on the show. And...
Yes. No, and it was really good because I think, how's that going to be interesting? And of course, it is.
Well, especially it's nice because it'll be good for sailors.
Yeah.
Who want to go see? There's some cool stuff in there from the America's Cup and so on, other Americans and beyond. And for non-sailors, remember the Tennis Hall of Fame is in Newport, Rhode Island. The Yachting Museum with IRIS, with the International Yacht Restoration School, just down the street, down Thames Street. So it is cool, and I think a lot of people will wander into it when they're in Newport. It's one of the tourist meccas of this country, and the official opening of the museum is Tuesday. And we'll get Heather Russom back on here sometime soon. Now, there is a map, as I'm prone to do, of Newport. This is New York Yacht Club Harbor Court down here on the south end of the harbor. The main bridge is up here off the top of the slide, Goat Island. And this is over here on Brenton's Cove, and out there is Fort Adams and the Fort Adams Sailing Center out here, and downtown Newport, lower Thames Street, upper Thames Street, and kind of the main four corners of town. So it's right there, just a couple blocks off the main four corners. And I think very well located in what is, as I said, the spiritual heart of USA yachting. You know, that's Bannister's Wharf in the foreground, and there on the right, I think that's Bannister's. There
are lots of interactive devices in that museum too, which are very clever and very good.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point. I just go back here for a minute. Bannister's Wharf, and you got Clark Cookhouse is over here. Yeah, that's Clark Cookhouse. And just a fabulous scene. That is Fort Adams Sailing Center over there, New York Yacht Club's Harbor Court, and Ida Lewis Yacht Club off to the left. That is Connecticut Island, Jamestown, where Daniel Forster lives, and many others. That's the island in the middle of Narragansett Bay. This is the so-called East Passage. That's Fort Adams itself. I guess it's not a Revolutionary War fort. It's War of 1812, I think. But this is Fort Adams. Then you can barely see where that water tower is over on the other side of what is called the West Passage, and this island splits Narragansett Bay, at least at the southern end of Narragansett Bay. One of the fabulous places in the sailing world. And maybe we will see, this will add one more thing. I used to live out here. When Leslie and I first moved to Newport, we lived in that building. And this is Goat Island, which was a submarine servicing, and they fueled submarines, but they also they loaded torpedoes. It was a torpedo loading station before that got converted into real estate back in the day. The spiritual heart of USA yachting in Newport, Rhode Island. Okay, I digress. I can't help myself when it comes to Newport.
Yes, but you spent a lot of time there.
Well, and it's lovely. I mean, it's just a fabulous spot. What are the comments coming here? Diamonds are forever, Lunabo saying, Sweeney, I identify as a Viking, doesn't mean I'm going to fly the heads of my enemies up the mast. We talked about a virtual tour of the museum on the show. Yes, Ed, we're going to do that. We will still do that. Heather has promised we'll do that, maybe Gary, and I may even be there at some point this summer. There's talk of going out there to do some things. Good day from the beginning of our Mother's Day, John Mangino is saying. Nice, John. Staying right, T. Hutch mentioned in a podcast a nice team meeting just recently held at the Clark Cookhouse.
Oh, nice.
On Bannister's Wharf. That's the wharf to the south of the one I was pointing out. One of the many favorite stops across the U.S., Clark Chapin, home of the infamous Newport Torpedo Station. There we go. Thank you, Clark. Home of the notoriously crummy Mark IV torpedo. I don't know what that all means, but Clark is an expert on all things mechanical. And I have another Bravo Zulu without any sound, but I just get straight to this one for LJE. I put this on my Facebook page a couple days ago and got a couple of clever comments. One from Magnus. Damn, how much money did I lose today in the stock market? This was on Thursday when the market crashed. How much did you lose in the market? Did you look?
I didn't look.
It's back up. It's just a small inflection because of our Crutonic Federal Reserve Board, right?
I don't think so.
You know, you think we're headed down, down, down?
We're down. I think we're headed down.
You think? Well, Larry Ellison was, you know, I think he's so rich he doesn't care, but I'm sure he does care. But he says, damn, how much money did I lose? No, that wasn't why I put that up. And Rob Sternstein, wisen us, great poobah. And I don't know if he's talking about me or Larry because I put that up. Well, the reason was because Larry, it was announced on Thursday, and it's all over the media. He's getting tons of media for this. And interesting, Julia, how when they take Larry, more often than not, it's not some picture for Oracle Open World. It's from something like Oracle Team USA or the America's Cup or sailing or boating or,
Right.
you know, super yachts or Sail GP these days gets a lot of coverage.
Yeah.
And the headline in Ars Technica, which is one of the big and widely read tech websites here, in this, at least in this country, if not beyond. Larry Ellison chips in a cool $1 billion toward Musk's Twitter takeover.
Yeah, I was really glad to see that.
I was too. And Clark Chapin, no, down again. Yeah, it wasn't down much, was it, Clark? How much down today? Jay Rendell, that's the market. Jay Rendell, listening from the car in Wisconsin as we are driving. Well, don't watch and drive, listen and drive, Jay. Nice article, Jay, about you in from many years ago with who? With Gordy Bowers. I've got that article. I may run that at some point. Daniel Yount, has Elon made Twitter a non-starter for public investors yet? Well, here's my point. I want to go back to this article because I've known Larry, you know, not super well, but well enough. Spent a lot of time with him. And I think there's a reason Larry's doing this, and it's not just altruistic. Elon Musk has raised $7.14 billion of funding for his $44 billion buyout. This is from Ars Technica. Investors, including Oracle co-founder Larry Ellison, who was at the top of the list of these newest investors with Elon. Crypto exchange Binance, is that how you say that? And asset management firms Fidelity, Brookfield, and Sequoia Capital. With the new financing commitments, Musk will cut the margin loan he has taken with a group of lenders by half to only margin loan of only $6.25 billion. Julie, we could buy some real new equipment here in the studio with a margin loan like that.
Yeah, we could.
Huh? $6.25 billion, and will increase the equity portion to $27 billion plus. The remainder of the purchase price will be paid with debt raised from global banks, and a lot of banks jumped in. And here's why. Well, let me put one more slide in here. The Tesla chief has been in a whirlwind effort to secure outside backing to join his audacious bid for the social media platform, even as traditional private equity firms involved in LBOs have largely eschewed the transaction. Eschewed. Some people say chew. Those of us from Michigan, Julia, say chew, eschewed.
Chew, chow, chilla.
Eschewed.
Yes. Yeah, all right.
Some people say eschewed. That's a joke.
Or rescued.
The deal would transform Musk, a self-declared, quote, free speech absolutist with nearly 91 million followers on the site, into a social media baron with control over how millions of people obtain news and information. And indeed it will. So he secured that $7 billion from new investors for his $44 billion from takeover. Do you remember when everybody saying, oh, he's going to get the fight from the Prince Alawid in Saudi Arabia, who was a big shareholder? Well, he's thrown in with Elon. Larry has also obviously thrown in, and many others. Why?
They want free and open press.
You think? Come on, how well do you know Larry? How well do we all know Larry? And bravo Zulu to him. I think that's the altruistic part. That's the, you know, it's they do want that, and it's certainly in part virtue signaling.
Yes.
But Larry Ellison is all about making money. Elon Musk is all about, not just about making money.
Yeah.
And the prince, Alawid, the Saudi prince, these guys are going to buy the company, taking it private. They're going to fix it. You already heard today Elon texting about how he's going to make the back end, all the technical. He said, if you're not an engineer, if you're not, what was the wording he used in his text? If you're not a technician, I don't want you in the company. Everybody's got to have a technical background, the marketing, the salespeople, the managers. Point is, they're going to take the thing, they're going to buy it, and then they're going to fix it, and then they're going to go public, and they're going to make a pile. So bravo Zulu to them, especially to Larry for helping out with this. I think it is important. So we're back on the eschew obfuscation. That's hard to say.
Yes.
How much will they have to pay Trump to start tweeting again? That's a good question. And Larry and Elon are huge fans of Ayn Rand. Yes, they are. Jay Rendell says he's going to Bill Madison's memorial. Yeah, say hi to everybody there. I'm sorry I won't be there. I knew Bill not particularly well, but he's a Sailing Hall of Fame inductee. Thanks, Jay Rendell, for that. But has he made Twitter a non-starter for public investors yet? My point is that I think he is going to make it a public company of magnificent proportions before they're done, and they're going to make a lot of money. Clark Chapin, don't for a minute think that Musk's takeover will lead to freedom of speech, since removing limits on advocation of violence and retribution toward various vulnerable persons will only serve to drive them from the platform. Okay, Clark, maybe, but I think you will see Larry and Elon, Julia, doing the same thing we do, obviously in a huge way. And they will say, no name calling, no personal attacks, be a lady and a gentleman, right?
And don't cancel people.
And don't cancel people. Well, we'll see. That's probably only we can get away with that because we have such great FOSI. There's a lot of comments on this. I knew there would be. It's been long known that the biggest problem, Alex Kent says, with modern politics was the hard left dogma of Silicon Valley. Okay, you can tell on here who's maybe more rightist and who's leftist, especially social media. The hard left censorship significantly reduced activity of legitimate and also profitable eyeballs and ad sales. Yes. Tweet him. Musk's theory of control is lack of control, Paul. I'm saying here in the Bay Area. Magnus checking in. Larry made so much money from his stake in Tesla that $1 billion is chump change to give back. I'm surprised it's not more. There should be one simple truth. Tell the truth. Yeah, but whose truth, Chris, actually is the problem. This is Twitter Illustrated. Now, Jody's always, that's always the clue when he thinks we've carried on too long about it.
And he's right, of course.
You think? Okay, well, Julia, you can call the next topic. You know what the next topic is?
No.
Sail GP.
Oh, okay.
And RS Sailing. So let's go to that. Thanks, Jody, for pushing us along. This announcement just today, I was tipped off to it this morning, and thanks again for that nice segment that Dan Jaspers and Hannah Stodel did with us, for us, a week or so ago.
Yep.
But it was announced today that RS Electric, which is a sister company or maybe a subsidiary, I don't know, of RS Sailing, they now have RS Electric boats, and today they announced a Sail GP partnership. They are going to supply electric ribs, at least 4 of them, I think, to start this year. Coach boats, ribs, rigid inflatable boats that will have a top speed of 23 knots, 100 nautical mile range on a charge. And their batteries will sustain that, I guess. 6.3 meters in length. I think 4 of those this year. And helping Sail GP become more sustainable. Reducing support boat emissions for Sail GP Season 3 was the subhead in the release. RS Electric boats will supply Sail GP with 4 Pulse, nice name, Pulse 63 electric ribs. The vessels are 100% electric, so generate 0 emissions, and are oil-free, meaning there is no risk of water pollution. These boats additionally have almost silent operation and produce little wake. I wonder what that'll do with the fish. Designed to be an electric boat from the beginning, the rib features a unique aerodynamic hull form that supports the weight of the batteries, while allowing rapid acceleration, functional speeds up to 23 knots, and ample range. Clark Chapin is saying, yeah, well, that 100 nautical mile range might be, max range might be at the speed of 3 knots. Yeah, okay, they probably can't do that at full speed, Clark. Before I'm looking through the comments. Jody Shields, it could be, if I could be so bold as to remind people to check out my podcast. Remember, the Bang the Corners podcast, his latest episode is with RC, with Russell Coots. Very interesting chat indeed. Good. Yeah, Peggy lids to the ranges at some speed is 100 nautical miles. Then SailGP COO, Julian DiBiase, who's a Swiss guy. He used to be a kid. When I first met him, he was with us in one of the campaigns. Terrific guy. He is the COO now for SailGP, has been for some time. All at SailGP are excited to partner with RS Electric Boats on our journey towards a zero-emission support fleet. It's been a privilege to work with RS Sailing alongside the SailGP Inspire platform. Remember, RS Yachts is also providing boats for the Inspire program. And this is an excellent addition to the relationship, so said JDB, as we call him, and Julian DiBiase. And that just to tell you that the season 3, while we're on SailGP, starts this coming weekend, next weekend, not tomorrow and Sunday, but the following weekend, in BDA in Bermuda. And look at this leaderboard, Julia. 9 teams, fully 9 teams this year, but who's missing? You see anybody missing? I'll give you one hint. Our FOSI is, or was, the wing trimmer.
Oh, yeah, China.
Leonard Takahashi.
In
Team Japan.
Yeah.
Is not on the leaderboard. So with a little bit of investigation, as we, Gordon Smith, Stingray, Greg Phillips is RS, the old Radio Shack. I hope not. They're still around. They have a few more stores now. Mm. Yeah. Okay, Clark. Well, we'll let the Naval Architects. But there is no Team Japan. We told you that. That's not new news. If you've been watching the show, we broke that news on here as a one hears quite some time ago.
Because.
And here's the reason.
Yeah. This
is from their official release today. One of the casualties from the new teams joining the league in Nathan Outeridge's Japan team. Runner-up in both seasons 1 and 2, Outeridge finds himself without a boat for the start of the season with only 9 boats available due to a series of external this is a word salad here. Due to a series of external factors that has meant the 10th boat cannot be completed in time. In order for Canada, to enter the league, the Japan SailGP team, who's got the Japan team's boat, will sit out the first events. Now, they didn't say how many. One here's it's 3. Of the season. SailGP is working hard to get boat 10 completed, and it is expected to be ready to race from the 4th event in Copenhagen.
And then we'll go to Canada?
I think that boat will go to Canada. I think that's right, but I don't know that for sure. Jody will probably know. Jody maybe can pitch in a comment, toss in a comment. Allowing for shipping, structural testing, and sea trials. The difficult decision, after much deliberation, was made based on logistical and commercial considerations. And I think, Julia, in the America's Cup vernacular,
yes,
no cash, no splash.
Yeah.
And I think that team has been carried by Larry and Russell, SailGP, without a big sponsor, without a major domo, without a personal supporter.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, enough's enough. We now have these other teams with backers, with sponsors, so we're going to put them into the game. Here we go.
Which makes sense, but also is an invitation for somebody to jump into Japan.
Well, it's hopefully they do. And there were some press reports. I didn't put them in because I wasn't sure that they were valid, and it was on strange sites with strange translation from Japanese into English. Who is the electric generator sponsor for SailGP? Ed Worley's asking. Jody Shields, I think you mean listen and learn. Okay, replying to, I don't know what that's all about. Backing up a bit, is Lewis the driver that created the cigarette kerfuffle? You're talking about Lewis Hamilton. I wonder who will be the first sailor electrocuted on an electric boat. Backing up, Ted Ryman. Oh, gosh. I hope nobody's electrocuted, let alone anybody blown up on a hydrogen boat. Although that happened in 1937 today. The Hindenburg. Did you know that?
Yes.
Ready Kilowatt.
I thought you'd like that.
Replying to Ted Ryman, would be amazing if they choose a female. I don't know what that means, Ted Ryman. Back and forth. Oh, the first sailor electric. Yeah, okay, that's not funny. So enough for all those comments. But they are not going to have a boat, sounds like, for the first 3 events And if they don't come up with a sponsor, maybe longer than that. Maybe they'll say, we've got another team that comes along that's got a backer, that's got a sponsor, and will pay, some money into SailGP. I'm surprised Larry has been so generous for so long, in fact. So bravo Zulu to him. And I think this event goes from strength to strength. It's very impressive and I think very good. And that is our SailGP update for the day. And Jody's saying, again, go listen to his podcast, The Bang in the Corner, because Russell, he says, gave a good explanation of the situation. Jody, did I get that pretty well right? From what you talked with Russell about. Anything else? Okay. Any other comments here, Julia? Okay, Husted, who's an Australian living in Sweden, of course. Did Jody? He said, you see Jody's latest comment? Did I mention that Russell Coots is on my latest podcast? He's like Sangmeister, John Sangmeister. He's a great promoter. Okay, let's move on here to the next segment, which is This Day in History. Julie, you know what happened on this day in history? The 6th of May. I was trying to find a date, an event around the America's Cup.
Yeah.
The start of the America's Cup, 1851. This is 1860. And this for our Italian friends. You know what happened? And it's hard to believe. It's 9 years after the first run of the America's Cup. Do you know who this gentleman is? Who can identify? Somebody on here. We got a bunch of smart people on here can identify.
Looks like Rasputin.
He's Italian. Actually, he was born in France. See if anybody identifies this gentleman. Famous. Well done, Gordon Smith. He's always on top of this. Willie Mae's birthday. No, it's Garibaldi. Matthias Collins has got it too. This is Giuseppe Garibaldi, France, born in France, of course, an Italian statesman and general. In 1807 to 1882, Clark Chapin got it, Garibaldi. And he was an Italian general, politician, and nationalist. Garibaldi was a central figure in the Italian, now I don't know how to pronounce that in Italian, Risorgimento, I think Risorgimento, the reorganization or the... He personally commanded and fought many military campaigns, which ultimately led to the formation of a unified Italy, along with Camillo Cavour, Victor Emmanuel II, and Giuseppe Mazzini, nice names. Mm-hmm. These campaigns ensured he is considered one of the founding fathers of the Kingdom of Italy. But what actually happened on this day in 1860? Now that we've told you it was Garibaldi. Nice painting, eh? Mm-hmm. Well, he commandeered actually a couple of steamships, as it turns out. They were actually secretly given to him, but he had to say, oh, well, I can't, because he didn't want the companies that were involved in the steamships to get into trouble. You know who backed him? The Brits secretly backed him with money and expertise and so on, because the people he was going to go, the Sicilian and Naples, Napoli and Sicilia, he was going to conquer them and unify Italy against the Bourbons, who were in bed with the Russians. Mm-hmm. So this is way back as the Brits against the Russians in 1860. So on this day, the expedition of the Thousand was an event of the Italian, again, Risorgimento. I should have called Meg to ask her how to pronounce this. Yeah. That took place in 1860. A corps of volunteers led by Garibaldi sailed from Quarto near Genoa, now the Quarto of the Million, and landed in Marsala, Sicily, in order to conquer the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies, ruled by the House of Bourbon. Project was an ambitious and risky venture, aiming to conquer with 1,000 men a kingdom with a much larger regular army and a more powerful navy. The expedition was a success and concluded with a plebiscite that brought Naples and Sicily into the Kingdom of Sardinia, the last territorial conquest before the creation of the Kingdom of Italy, only a year later, less than a year later. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's great.
Historic event today, 1860. Garibaldi's million men set sail from Genoa to the Kingdom of the Two Sicilies on this day in history, the 6th of May. Now, I had never heard of Garibaldi until the first time I was in Sardinia. We were there running a, windsurfer regatta or maybe a Sunfish Worlds or a Windsurfer Worlds or something. And the cup for something involved, maybe for that regatta, was the Garibaldi Cup. And I had to go look that. We didn't have a Wikipedia then. We had to go look up who was this guy, unifier of Italy, Giuseppe Garibaldi. Bill Wingrove is asking, how did Kentucky get involved with the Italian battles? Did they? Did they supply bourbon? I don't know. One here is Gordon. That is it. Where did you get this? I tell from. I love podcasts. I'll have to check it out. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, this is This is just a video podcast. Matthias Collins. Yeah. Garibaldi was involved in the Uruguayan and South Brazilian War. Yes, he did a lot of work in 3 continents as a general and a warrior. Mm-hmm. Well after the Roman Byzantine era, yeah. I think that the translation is 1,000 rather than million. Yeah, I say too. Million. Thank you, Clark. Yeah. 1,000 men. I said that in the 1,000. Thank you, Clark, Julia. Okay, Daniel Yount's got some interest. Bill Wingrove still hasn't told us how Kentucky got involved with the Italian battles. But while he tells us that, we'll go on to some other things that happened on this day in history. This is quite a day.
Hindenburg.
Yeah, it was the age of the Zeppelin. And of course, in 1937, the German airship Hindenburg exploded in flames at Lakehurst, New Jersey, killing 35 of the 97 on board and 1 on the ground as they were trying to dock it at its mooring mast. That was pretty much the end of hydrogen. Were they helium or hydrogen?
Hydrogen.
Were they? Hydrogen or helium?
It was helium.
I think it was helium. I think hydrogen was too hard to deal with.
Yeah,
it would have been too cold. Also on this day, this is cool. This is a lot of cool stuff happened on this day. Mm-hmm. Oh, Bill Wingrove, Kentucky, the House of Bourbon. No, I think this is the House of Bourbon, the Spanish. Helium doesn't explode. It was hydrogen, very dangerous, but very light. Daniel Yount, Alan Longstreet, yeah, no hydrogen. Helium doesn't combust.
That's also correct.
Okay, very good. We got smart people in here.
Yes, and we should have known.
Steve Gruber saying, yeah, I think the Hindenburg was helium. This day in history, the latest wonder of the world, it was called at the time. That may have been a bit over the top, but in 1994, the Channel, the Channel Tunnel linking England and France officially opened. Mm-hmm. And have you ever been through the Channel?
I haven't. I've been. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, I was once.
Well, that opened officially on the 6th of May, 1994. It seems like more recently than that, but that's that's what, almost 30 years ago. 94, 04, 14, yeah, it's almost 30 years ago. Okay. Nova has a great documentary. Okay, Nova now, this is the PBS Nova series here in the U.S. My beloved mother is saying Janice Davis has a great documentary on the Hindenburg and the whole dirigible era. Fascinating. The coating of the Hindenburg skin was basically rocket fuel, according to a documentary I saw quite a few years ago. Mm-hmm. It should have been helium. That would have been safer. Okay, Julie Aarons, thank you for that. Enough about history. Let's carry on with the yacht racing news and some more water noise there, Julia. I like it. Huh?
Yeah, a little pause.
It's just a little pause. My favorite cover photo of the whole show. I'm going to keep it using it. It's my cup, and I'm going to sell it to whoever I want to, which he's done, in my not-so-humble opinion. We told you on Tuesday about Tom Slingsby joining the team. That is the New York Yacht Club American Magic team. I think that puts New York Yacht Club American Magic, I'll tell you in a few minutes, but it raises them up the leaderboard, the ranking list, and I'll tell you where I think everybody stands here at the end of this America's Cup segment. This is great news that the Olympic and America's Cup champion, he was the America's Cup champion with us in 2013. That is Oracle Team USA in the catamaran, the AC-72s. Tom Slingsby has joined New York Yacht Club's American Magic, and I've talked to a New York Yacht Club member, senior series member. I think he's still a member of their America's Cup committee, and they are some chuffed, pleased. Not happy that it took so long, but they're really pleased, and they agree with me that this is the really, as I said on Tuesday, one picture is better than 1,000 words. Mm-hmm. My mother, look at what my mother says. Slingsby is so cute.
And she knows.
Gordon Smith, I used to commute between London and Paris via the Channel whilst working for IBM. It's excellent. Gases Illustrated now, Stingray is saying, yes, we are talking about gases, lighter than air gases. He's a handsome man. He's a great personality. He, like Jimmy Spithill, is a strong personality, and I think is going to be really tough. And I think he's going to help American Magic because he's also smart. He's one of these guys who's not just a sailor, but he's a sailor with an I don't know if he has an engineering background, but he has an engineering bent. And I've seen him in design meetings. I've seen him in rules meetings with us where he can call out Richard Slater or myself or the engineers and say, hey, have you thought about this? Or I disagree with that, and here's why. And I think you'll find that Tommy Slingsby is a big addition and on more than just the sailing and foiling front for New York Yacht Club's American Magic. Now, we get letters, don't we, Julia?
Yes.
And yachties or hotties, Alistair Murray, who I hope is still on here, he was earlier, sent us a terrific letter. In fact, Julia, I'm going to encourage Alistair. I haven't yet, but I wanted to ask the FOSI and you, but with any luck, this is the second or third such letter we're going to read from Alistair because the guy is so steeped in the history and tradition, but also has such great respect and knowledge of our sport. I guess he's the chairman of the board, former CEO of Ron Stan, and now vice president of Australian Sailing, be the next president of Australian Sailing, presumably. Yeah. Alistair Murray there, obviously on the right. I don't know why I put that in there. I just thought, these days you never know who's a man and who's a woman, Julia.
Yes, we do.
And of course, Alistair could be a woman too these days. Dear Tom and Julia, a couple of items of interest from your latest show, which I caught on replay because he gets up early when he doesn't have COVID and goes biking. Now here, this photo accompanied this letter, which is fun. It's a little long, but it's worth reading every word. Tom Slingsby's gold Penfolds Grange. Remember, we've been talking about that?
Right.
So Alistair was able to, connect a few dots for us. You spent a fair bit of time discussing Slingsby's appointment to the New York Yacht Club team, a real coup for them. It reminded me of a Tom Slingsby memory. I was with the whole Australian Olympic sailing team at Hamilton Island, which, by the way, if you haven't been up to Hamilton Island Race Week, go. It's one of the great sailing. You talk about meccas of sailing. Talk up in the northeast corner of Australia. Go. It was in 2008 following the Beijing Olympics. The team was high in spirits following a very successful team effort with 2 golds, a silver, and a fourth, and 2 fifth placings. There was one very dejected young man who had failed spectacularly compared to expectations. Tom Slingsby had gone into the event as world champion and gold medal favorite in the laser. Inexplicably, he didn't finish in the top 10 in any race and finished 22nd overall. Well, I had placed a bet on him to win with David Graham, now who's the CEO of World Sailing, with the stakes being a spectacularly expensive bottle of the wine we discussed on your show. We were just showing you there in the slide a few times, Penfolds Grange Hermitage. His man, that is David Graham's bet, was on Paul Goody, the Brit, who won the event, so I paid up with a bottle of the liquid gold. Well, I actually paid up with 2 bottles because we also had one on the overall team result, and the Brits pipped us there as well. So at Hamilton Island, I told Tom Slingsby he had cost me a bottle of Grange, but I told him if he won gold at the next Olympics, I would buy him a bottle and drink it with him. Remember, this is a drinking show with a sailing habit.
Right.
Later that night, much to the delight of the whole team, Tom got up and publicly announced he would regroup and go around again for the Olympics, aiming for a selection to represent Australia in London. History shows he did exactly that and came away with the gold in magnificent style, ! Good to my word again. I paid up at Hamilton Island again when the Australian sailing team celebrated our amazing performance in London 2012 of 3 golds and a silver. I drank the Grange with Tom and my great friends Victor Kovalenko, who's the coach, the medal maker he's called, and Tom's coach Michael Blackburn. I have a tradition of keeping the empty bottles marking special occasions. Here is the bottle with the faded label from 2012, as you can see there in that shot.
Nice story.
Nice story. So really, really nice story. Now, there's more. Alistair went on to say on another topic you also discuss sailing canoes. There is a famous class in Australia called the Payne-Mortlock canoe. I'd never heard of these, which was designed by Mortlock and by Alan Payne, who was, of course, the designer of Gretel and Gretel II, famous yacht designer. Gives the Wikipedia link. And you will see the boat was designed in the 40s, 1940s, sailed by two crew with main jib and spinnaker, and famous for its, as we were talking about the other day, Julia,
Yeah, the hiking.
the sliding hiking plank or hiking seat. There is now only one club in the world still sailing them, the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club in a suburb of Adelaide in SA in South Australia. So there is the Brighton and Seacliff Yacht Club, which, Julia, is also known as the BSYC. See there at the top of the slide?
Yes.
Now, I think there's yet another BSYC. I think your job, Commodore, is to go around and gather up all the BSYCs in the world and make them all be sister or brother clubs.
Yes.
Why not?
Big good idea.
Let's get Alistair on the project.
Yes.
Another BSYC. Well, that's a really nice letter from Alistair there. Yachties are hotties. I love it. That your show brings out old memories, stories, and characters from our great sport. And we have great FOSI on here to do that, including Alistair.
Yes.
And I put it to you, Julia, I suggest that we ask Alistair, now that we've got our master mentor, John Emmett, I think we need our awesome Aussie, Alistair Murray. We'll do the letter from down under or something. Just our awesome Aussie.
Yeah, good. Be great. He looks wonderful in that picture too.
That's when he was, I think, elected vice president of Australian sailing. He'll soon be president, I think. Okay, great stuff. Thank you, Alistair. Wonderful to have contributors like you and John and many others on here that send me stuff with every show, each passing show. Now, to the America's Cup. Let me see any comments. I was in London with my family when Tom won gold and Nathan and Goob secured theirs on the same day. Their medals. The pub was the something pub was going off. So much beer and rum consumed. Great time indeed. Okay, I'm not going to read your comment, Bill Wingrove, but thank you. Jody will accuse me of being rocket fuel again. Rocket Man. Da 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 da. What's he saying? It's important if you're going to gas bag, you do so with a non-combustible gas. I think that's social commentary on us, Julie. We don't have any combustible gas. Mark Huss said the moth class is a lot of talent, not just slingers. Well, that's true. That is a good point. Alistair is here. Good stuff, Alistair. Thank you. And the F1 free practice session 2 just started. Gordon Smith is watching that on another channel. And anything else? Did you see the Hawaiian sailing canoe? Hukalea is on its way to sailing to Tahiti. Bill Haynes, no, I didn't see that. Thank you. Was wondering how they added a keel. Looks like just a centerboard. In relation to Ian Murray. No, they're talking to Ian Murray. Happy to take up the awesome Aussie. Oh, there we go. We got an answer.
Yes.
Happy to take up the awesome Aussie challenge.
Oh, yay. Isn't that good?
A letter from down under from Alistair Murray AM. Thank you. It is great that we discuss the past, present, and future of our sport and heavy lift transport, wine, gas, chemistry, and a lot more. Alistair Murray, no. Oh, I guess it's Alistair. No, he's no relation to Ian, although Ian often claims to be. That's great news, Alistair. Thank you for that. By the way, I have one other, before we get on to Alinghi in the America's Cup and Magnus the Magnificent. Julie, I have one other point. This, thanks to one of our FOSI, sent me a note. I'll think of who it was in a minute. But Comanche was seen on AIS.
Yeah.
You know from your late great husband, the shipping tracker for all kinds of ships, right, and big yachts and so on, that it was at the Caribbean end of the Panama Canal. This was Jack. Was it Jack? I think it was Jack. I'll think of his last name here in a sec. Sorry, I can't come up with it.
I have that.
AIS. You have
AIS.
the tracker on your. Yeah. Well, he saw Comanche at the, what is it? I guess the eastern, or is it the southern end of the Caribbean end of the Panama Canal. He contacted Mitch Booth and asked him, "Are you taking Comanche through to Australia?" And he said, "Yes, I am." Oh. So it's headed to Australia. They're either in the canal or through the canal now. So that's, Jack Everett. Thanks, Alex Kent. Well done. So that's a good piece of news. Jack, who's a Flying Scots sailor from, speaking of Kentucky, or is it Tennessee? It's Tennessee, middle part of the country. But he moves around a lot. He sails on a lot of different events all over the place. Cool guy, Jack Everett. Big promoter of the Super 12s, in fact, when we were working hard on that. So I think that's pretty cool. Stingray saying, did I see a photo of Ernesto Flash? Right. Chattanooga, Tennessee. What's this? Percy Priest Sailing Club? What's the name of that club, Alex Kent? Is it Percy Priest? What's the name of that club? A reservoir in Chattanooga. Pardon me, boys. Are you to the Chattanooga choo-choo, Chattanooga choo-choo, dot. Track 49. It's going to leave on time. I can't remember. I'm a bass player. I don't know the words. Talk about gas, but Jackson and I both went to McCallie High School, Alex Kent said. That's cool. There's a question. Alan Long wanting to know if the Ron Stan bicycle shirts are available in the U.S. of A. Yachties or hotties. We talked about that one of the times that Alistair was on.
Yeah.
Gordon Smith, that's the comment of the day. Would old farts count as a discussion of historical chemical combustion? Percy Priest Lake is in Nashville. Okay, not Chattanooga. Was there when it opened in the late 60s. Bill Wingrove, okay. I just realized, well, it's Saturday morning down in Ozzie, and Jody Shields is saying, I just realized that our greatest memories are clouded with memory erasing out. Yeah, Privateer Yacht Club. That's it, Alex Kent. That's what I was trying to dig up. Thank you. Okay, let's get on to this American Cup boat race piece, because this was Magnus writing this morning, and I'm not going to go through the whole piece. I commend it to you. And again, Magnus's Rule 69 sailing, rule69.blog is free. Julia, I know you get it.
Yep.
And read it word for word because you like his prose, you like his style, as do I. But he wrote a nice piece today about Geneva and about the Société Nautique Genève, Alinghi's yacht club, and just what a kind of a cool, down-to-earth, nice, but not super flash, but very effective club. And it is all of that. And I've been talking with Magnus offline, comparing notes about what we hear. They're having some problems. I don't know how big the problems are. Some people are exaggerating them, I think, but they're having some problems in Ineos, budgetary problems, so one hears. And there have been some shuffling and back. Probably no big deal. But, I mean, you know Sir Jim Ratcliffe.
Yes.
He's got some problems with the Mercedes F1 team.
Yep.
And apparently that's taking some of his attention. And you also know that Sir Jim is trying to buy the Chelsea FC, the Chelsea Football Club, the soccer club. So, maybe his mind's off the sailing ball. That's a mixed metaphor.
Yes.
Off the sailing, what do we want? The sailing horizon for a moment. But Ernesto is very quietly and efficiently, Fog Machine saying Ratcliffe just bid $4 billion for Chelsea, but he was rejected, but I think he's gone back again with another bid. And Magnus and I have been talking about how we would rank the current America's Cup teams based on what we know or think we know so far. Ask me today, Magnus wrote in his blog post today, ask me today to pick who would win between Ainsley, Slingsby, Spithill, Burling, Outeridge, and all I can point to is the Sail GP circuit. These 5 are the apex, I love this, the apex predators of our sport. Mm-hmm. In short, they are all brilliant, and it's a tough ceiling to smash through to get to their level. Time and again, they prove it at the highest level, and we see how tough the hard chargers from the minor teams in Sail GP find it to compete with these guys. They are the top guns. With that movie coming out, Top Gun Part 2, they are the top guns in our sport. Well said, Magnus, and I couldn't agree more. But where does that leave Alinghi? So the question that simply can't be answered here due to the lack of evidence is whether the Alinghi afterguard, because we don't know who they are for sure, are the weakest link in an otherwise mighty, I think he meant mighty, chain. We know the design will be spot on. We certainly know the build will be Swiss perfect. We are 100%, to say nothing of being well funded.
Yes.
We are 100% that the program that has been designed with all around be of the will all around be of the highest level. The simulator exercises we know are relentless. Yes, that's been true in the Cup of late. But are we confident in the white-hot heat of battle against a charged-up Ainsley, Slingsby, Spithill, Burling, or Outeridge
Wow.
with an ounce of boat speed in their back pocket and a weight of expectation on their shoulders that they won't pull out the move that simulators haven't got the imagination to provide? Okay, yeah, good question. Can Alinghi train for the impossible? We'll see what our FOSI have to say about that, because that is, those are all good questions. But wait, there's more. Ernesto Bertarelli thinks so. I'm not going to argue with him, Magnus says, but it's the biggest question mark that hangs over this otherwise brilliant and intriguing team. If he's right, and let's face it, he hasn't been too bad on many decisions in the Cup world before,
Yeah.
it would be seismic. It would change how we think about sailing in the America's Cup and Sail GP. It would be, and I love this too,
Yeah.
Bill Koch-esque,
Yes.
firmly rooted in the pure data and science of winning the greatest prize in our sport, and it would be the art of the sensational if they pull it off.
Indeed.
As storylines go, there is nothing bigger than the Alinghi one. Watch this one from, I don't know what he means, from behind the sofa.
Partly hidden.
What's that mean? From behind the sofa?
Well,
Magnus, if you're on here, tell us what the hell that meant. From behind the sofa, it will be fascinating. I agree. It's going to be fascinating. And as you know, I said in the previous show that I think Alinghi
yes, yeah.
New York's coming up.
Yes.
But on surface, on what little we do know about the teams, if I had to rank teams, I would put Alinghi at the top of the challenger pick, probably with New York.
Yes.
With the other two teams, the Brits and the Italians, struggling. Or so I think. Tell me if I'm wrong. And Magnus, I think, also, not only from talking with him, but also texting. We haven't actually talked in a while, but we text constantly. I agree with him. I think Alinghi is going to be very strong indeed. And Ernesto is a smart boy. So,
Bill Rungup says behind the couches, hide and watch like the old Westerns.
hide and watch. When you got Bill Wingrove in Tampa, Florida, interpreting Magnus's prose in the UK, we got a smart bunch on here. That's Magnus Wheatley's, what I've just read you from his Rule69.blog today. And let's see what else. Hide and watch like the old Westerns. Oh, I see. You hide behind the stand-up piano so you don't get shot in the bar fight. There's that commercial running here in the U.S. right now. The player keeps playing on, and how can he do it? It's some rheumatoid or some arthritis medicine, and then some guy grabs his piano and he smacks his hand. He says, "Don't play, don't mess with my piano." While there's chaos going on in gunfights. Good commercial. I agree with your mom. It is a game changer. What did my mom say, Julie Ahrens? Uh-oh, I missed a comment from my mom. She won't let me hear the end of that.
I didn't.
McCallie is also where Ted Turner went to school, so they all went to school. Okay, I wondered, it wasn't quite together. I hope Tom Wolfe is still with Ineos. Stingray is asking. Well, I hear, although Magnus disagrees with this, I hear that James Allison has been pulled back into the F1 team, or at least a good chunk of his time. And if that's the case, rather than focusing full-time on the America's Cup, but we'll see. They got plenty of resources. They won't be struggling. How can Alinghi lose when they have a helm that sounds like Parasaphophagus? We'll get some. Maybe we'll get Ernesto on here. The restrictions, that would be something, wouldn't it? Ed Worley, I agree with you. Restrictions on amount of time sailors actually sailing the AC boats is crotonic. Now, here's the thing that Richard Gladwell pointed out in his. By the way, I didn't put his piece on here because I didn't have time this morning to even excerpt from it. But there's a very good piece by Richard on sail-world.com. We need to get Richard. It's been a long time since we had Richard on the show.
It has been a while.
He wrote a very good piece. outlining all the stuff we've talked about here on the show and more
Mhm.
in the last couple, 3 weeks. You know, some rumors, some one here, some reading between the lines on press releases, as he put it. And he said, first out of the box, he called it pole position, is Alinghi, because they have bought a boat, because Dalton must need the money. He bought a boat, the number 2 boat,
Yeah.
from Emirates Team New Zealand. And because Alinghi is considered to be a new team, because they didn't race under the protocol, they didn't race in the last Cup,
Right.
they're considered a new team,
Mm-hmm.
they get to go sailing earlier
Mm.
than the other teams. That's a good point. I got to go read the protocol. I'm too lazy to do that, but I do have to do that. What else? Alinghi is a good bet, IMO. Fritz Mueller is saying a lot of experience in the water, all kinds of tech and foiling. Exactly right, Fritz. That's why I rate them high as well. Spot on, Bill Wingrove. Wingrove is telling us what Magnus meant by hiding behind the couch. Oh, Julie Ahrens is agreeing with my mom that she thinks Slingsby is cute. Flying Hulls is now Bill Parker watching over on YouTube. David James, hi David, checking in. Is the Labrador behind the couch? Tough to believe in the invincibility of the MB computer flow simulation when this year's F1 car was such a brick out of the box, kind of the Mariner of F1. Wow, Clark, that's a tough comment. Could be true, though. Stingray asking, why did Ineos already ditch Britannia 2 to a museum? Well, Richard Gladwell talked about that, too. And as you know, there's this, and by the way, Magnus also wrote nicely about this sailing classic yacht museum. And apparently that boat has been donated by Ineos. Their boat 2, their supposed good boat, or there was certainly the better of the 2.
Yeah.
That's been donated but they can't sail. They got to build a new boat and go sailing. There's not a lot of time. This event's in less than 2 years' time, or maybe 2 years and change if it's in September and October.
Yeah.
Terry Hutchinson wasn't too happy. They still don't know the dates. And by the way, we've been saying on this show, several of you said it, the Seaway off Barcelona, if they end up really do racing there and running in the sea coming in and reflecting off the breakwater in Barcelona is going to be a crazy mixed up sea state. I can tell you that from bouncing around out there in an umpire boat in the 92 Olympics, right off that breakwater. Replying to Clark Chapin, ooh, low one, Clark. I think that was pretty good. Magnus Wheatley says he thinks Slingers is cute. He's a handsome man. Okay, Magnus. Replying to Stingray, okay, there's a lot of back and forth here. We better move on here, Julie. People are becoming croutonic. Speaking of croutonic,
Yes.
we are now in the correct or croutonic phase, and I did not take up the Red Diamond issue as John suggested we might, because we discussed that at the beginning of the show and explained why I think that's happening. But this issue is the big one, and a lot of people commented on this Facebook post. It was in Live, Sail, Die on their Facebook page. And I pulled it out yesterday and just looked at the comments. And there are so many comments. Now, Live, Sail, Die, of course, is a Kiwi website. And good one. Very, very good one. And Facebook page. And they took this logo, which is apparently, I haven't seen it released officially. I see it being used, I guess. But there it is. Very kind of bland, straightforward sans serif typeface and just black and white. This is probably a placeholder logo, but there were a lot of comments, particularly from Kiwis. And here's just a few of them. Jeff Wilding, like walking into a pub on the hottest day of the year, asking cold beer and been given a hot cup of Milo. Auckland taxpayers gave TNZ $265 million to defend and keep the cup in Auckland. How do you think we feel? Now they're talking about the cup, not just the logo.
Right.
Neville Broadbent, I don't know these gentlemen, makes me feel sick thanks to Dalton and RNZ selling us out. Tom Myatt, dread to think what their creative agency charged for this clip art illustration and use of sans serif semi-bold font in capitals. But wait, there's more. David Sorensen, again, is that a Nike logo hanging on the side? It does look a little bit like a Nike logo. This looks like the Nike swoosh or the McLaren swoosh. You see it on so many different logo types. Carol Smith, is it a genie lamp? Well, the cup does look a little bit like a genie. Now, remember, that's the original cup. That's not depicting the bases that have since been added. Steve Lawrence, is it a hookah? Which got, then there was a whole thread, Julie, of comments after that. Is it a hookah? There were lots of responses and lots of people making very funny jokes.
It's not connected to the handle is not connected to the
Well,
base.
I didn't think it was all that bad. I mean, having been involved, I'll tell you the story about the '92 Cup logo, which people liked, and I told the agency, we had an agency and paid them too much money, and said, I want something that depicts match racing. I want it red and blue and silver, because silver's the cup, and red and blue because it's in the U.S. And I want depiction of two boats, and somehow the cup, the outline of the cup. And they came back, as agencies do, with I don't know how many different depictions of this, that, and the other thing, and they were all crap. And my whole staff looked at them. It wasn't just me, my whole team, my secretary, my marketing person, and we all looked at it and said, this is, even Dennis was not amused.
Mm-mm.
And after arguing with them, they said, oh, no, here. I said, look, excuse me. I went out and I went on the copy machine and cut and paste some stuff together. Taped it together, made another photocopy and brought it into them. Said, here's what we want. And they created, I didn't put it in the show, the '92 Cup. And they did then a nice job. And it's a really cool logo. It's celebrated, famously good logo. Still see it around. Replying to Mark, Live, Sail, Die. Yeah, it's on Live, Sail, Die on their Facebook page. It's worth going back and reading. Ed Worley, the more hype that Barcelona does for the AC to make dollars, the more it will sting for sailors in New Zealand. Yeah. I think Spain, when I see the logo and not New Zealand. Yeah, okay, Baton Rouge, Baton Cannon in Charleston, South Carolina, a beautiful town. Yeah, LSD, Live, Sail, Die. Okay, let's see. Sue Ellen Hurling, yeah, she does great work. Mark has said, I totally agree. She is LSD. She's Live, Sail, Die, and not any other LSD you might be thinking about. I'm guessing that neither Para nor LV. Well, that's maybe the most interesting thing about this, is that there is no title sponsor. It's not the America's Cup presented by Prada. See that? Mm-hmm. So there must not be a presenting sponsor yet, and that's again why I think this is a placeholder. But as a placeholder, I mean, come on, folks. It says what it says. It just doesn't say sailing. And they must be promising Barcelona that they'll get a lot of coverage because it has Barcelona in the title. I keep
thinking, remember when the cup has displayed on the wrong side with the
yes,
the port, and this is an exaggeration of that because there isn't a connection, and
but at least they got it right, because if you look at this photo here on the wall, that is the cup properly.
Yes.
With the front of it and the handle to the left. Now there you can see a painting, a pretty accurate painting. I can even zoom that camera, but I won't, of what the cup does look like. And you can see that the cup, I'll probably pull my headphone out here, but at this level.
Yep.
Am I blocking the camera? But that's the original cup, and all that other stuff down in the bottom. Did I block that?
Yeah.
Did you see that on the camera?
Well,
I need a pointer. Julie, I need a pointer here.
You do need a pointer.
But anyway, the cup at this level was the original cup logo, and then this bottom first piece was added in '58. The second piece was added in, tell me when, '95. And that's filling up now as well.
And it's so much more because they have the team members on. Is that right?
Not the team members, but each. You're right, because each series is getting longer.
Yeah.
It used to be first to win 4, and now it's first to win 5, and lately it's been more than that. And the date, the course, the delta, the names of the two yachts, and the delta is inscribed on the cup. It's it's not quite like the Stanley Cup where they do put all the team names, and names of everybody in the organization practically. Okay, enough of this. I don't think this is bad. I don't know why everybody. I can understand why. I understand in spades why the Kiwis think this is terrible, and I just can't believe they've sold the cup. They've allowed Mr. Dalton and the squadron to go offshore and sell the cup to the highest bidder.
It says to me they don't have the handle on anything.
Is that no pun intended? Is that a intended pun?
Yeah.
They don't have a handle on it. Okay, Julia, that may be the best comment of the day. Okay, enough on all that. So I did a little, did you see how clever that was? Look at that.
Yes.
A little motion graphic.
Yes.
There's that one, there's that one.
Uh-huh.
That's not easy to do in Keynote
I'm
or
proud of you.
PowerPoint. So that's what it looks like when it's upside down. There were so many comments about it looking like a hookah pipe or looking upside down. I don't think it's so bad. Whatever people think. Okay, Julia, any other? We probably have a lot of comments now here as we go back to the cover. Matthias Collins says, I am cuter than Slingsby. Stingray, yes, but nobody will launch the new V2 AC-75s more than 6 months ahead. Yeah, I think the 40-footers are going to be the trial horse, are going to be the practice boats, and of course, the simulators. Lots of good comments. Lots of great comments. Got to go back, Julia. Remind us to go back and read the comments, right?
Bill Wingrove says the cup has gone dark.
In terms of publicity. He's right. There's been very little PR, very little publicity. I think there's still a struggle. I think there's still a struggle going on over the venue in getting it funded. They promise some things that they may not be able to deliver. Let's see what happens. The more hype that Barcelona does for the AC to make the dollars, the more it will sting for sailors in New Zealand. I think I read that. Exactly. I thought that the cup for the 36th, the logo for the 36th cup was chemically induced. This is an improvement. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. That Prada, remember the Prada designer, somebody that Patrizio Bertelli brought it. It looked like, like you were. Yeah, it was it was
meant to, I think, to envision speed or movement, but it was didn't quite do it.
Yeah, well, that was that famous. Was he an Aussie designer that Patrizio brought in? Well, Patrick Dyer's not impressed. He says this must be some kind of a joke. As a logo, it seems to be rather unfinished. Yeah, Gordon Smith, that's what I'm wondering if it's not just a placeholder. They just slapped something together so they could have something other than Prada. And I think the fact that there's nothing there means that Prada is not going to be involved next time, at least as the title partner. It actually looks kind of like a foil. Huh. Replying to Gordon Smith, I like it except the Barcelona part. Can't wait to see this logo on carbon sails. Walk down Bond Street, James. Yeah, okay, David James. That upside down is from a 60s sitcom, I Dream of Jeannie.
Where is the
It
genie?
does look a little bit like the genie bottle. I mean, what's that test? The Rorschach test. Maybe we do this and see what people can divine of that, sailors and non-sailors.
I can't get past the thought that it's disconnected. It just stops me.
Well, the thing is hollow. You can't drink out of it.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah.
Now with a new base, you can.
Yeah.
But it's hollow.
Yeah.
Okay, upside down, it looks like a treble clef. Does it? A little bit.
Yeah.
Looks Arabic, Alex Kent says. Okay, enough of all this. Julia, enough of all this, don't you think? Let's get to the D block. We're an hour and a half in. I thought this was going to be another short show.
We've been
gas bagging like crazy today.
Yeah.
John, if there were a decent pub in Denmark, I would have the same issue. Daniel Yount saying, yeah, I was thinking of the Rorschach test. Is that how you pronounce that?
Rorschach.
Rorschach. The German word, the CH is the heart. Let's see it sideways, Helen. Okay, next show. The Clark Wingrove, the cup has been hijacked again. The handle looks like a treble clef. Yeah, okay. Well, let's get to the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot for today. I've got some that were submitted. Some people submitted and didn't want ID. I think, speaking of Elon Musk, should buy California and turn it into Florida. If Ellison and Musk could buy California and turn it into Florida or Texas. Now, this came from, I think, Sangmeister. I didn't put his title, but our dear friend John Sangmeister down in Long Beach. How much is it? Well, it varies when you're at a sailboat vending machine. You just keep putting money in until you're broke and hope for the best. He's just done a big rehab on his boat, Rock and Roll. I'm sure that's why he's... Now, Julia, get your finger ready. I debated with a couple of the FOSI whether I should use this. This came from Mario Schumann, by the way, your surrogate son. I understand how you get Bob from Robert and Bill from William, but how do you get Dick from Richard? Ask him nicely. Okay, shake your finger. Mario at me. I put that in for all the juvenile delinquents we have on here, like Ryman and all. Hey, did you see there was a motor? I didn't run it. There was a motorcycle that Ryman sent it to me, but it wasn't him. But it was some guy on a motorcycle riding through a flood in somewhere, and the guy it was sailing related, water related. I thought we should run
yes.
that. I couldn't dig it off. Okay, Julia, you can shake your finger.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and then finally a serious one. This also from Sangmeister. There is a cure for every addiction except sailing. If you love sailing, you're screwed for life. Now that's a good one, isn't it?
Yep.
That's courtesy of Sangmeister. Thanks for that. Okay, John. Steve Gruber's got the emoji on there. Julie, that gets us to a finish line, and you're a witness.
Yes. Like every other week, it's important that you like, follow, and share because it is recorded immediately, and so is our reputation.
Indeed. And our reputation is only as good as the FOSI. Thank God we have somebody on here who gives a good reputation. Comments are welcome too, even in replay, as you all know. And if you will kindly support us on Patreon, patreon.com/join/Sailing Illustrated. And some of your credit cards, you give them and then they expire or you change and it doesn't get re-upped. But we appreciate every nickel. We appreciate every little bit because it does help us buy some equipment and keep the show on the proverbial road. It keeps us on the water, so to speak. Julia, any last thoughts?
I'm afraid I'm out of
You're out of thoughts?
Out of thoughts.
That's because you were at the yacht club last night for Cinco de Mayo till late.
I was.
What time did you get home?
Oh, it wasn't late. 10:30.
Oh, well, that's pretty good.
And that was early.
I worked on the bloody show till midnight. That's why I didn't come over to the YC for a final with you all.
Mm.
But we got it done. Obviously our technical problems have been sorted out because we haven't crashed, and we did have that one crash a couple shows ago, but thank goodness that didn't happen. Reminder that on Tuesday we have our dear friend Luca Devoti with us. He will be back. Hadn't been on the show in a long time. Yep. I think Clark Chapin said in it's been last October, November, something like that. So we'll have Luca on. Hope you can join us for that. In the meantime, if you're celebrating it, and to my beloved mother, I'll call her, of course, on Sunday, have a blessed and happy Mother's Day, everybody. Hope you have a great weekend with the ones you love, and you can sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now. Jody is saying, hey, hopefully you can all listen to my podcast with Russell. Okay, Jody. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.